Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog. Last week was Valentine's Day, and for the day of St. Valentine, I took my date out for a little Chinese food, and then we went to see the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which was released on that very day. Now, many of you may be thinking, that doesn't sound too romantic. And for the most part, you'd be right, but I put into account that 5 years ago, I also took said date to see 50 Shades of Grey, which was even less romantic and probably the worst Valentine's date I have ever had in my life. And also, on both accounts, I was my date. Now, I have been waiting a good long 27 years for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie to be released. Why 27 years? Because that's how long ago it has been since cinemas graced us with the Super Mario Bros. Movie, the first live-action adaptation to a video game, and the start of the downward spiral of crappy film adaptations to video games that were soon to follow. Now, before those of you who are responsible for making the Super Mario Bros. Movie into a cult classic go all into a huff, let me say this. I'm with you. I too enjoy this movie, and I'm as well responsible for making it the cult classic we happy few know and love to this very day. But let's face facts. It's a mess. We love it, but it's a mess. Now, given that I've waited 27 years for Sega, the competing market to Nintendo, to make a film based on their very own mascot, I'm drawing comparisons between this film adaptation and the aforementioned Super Mario Bros. First off, I will admit that it's a lot more decent of a film adaptation than Super Mario Bros. Now, the movie is about the title character, Sonic, voiced by Jean-Ralphio himself, Ben Schwartz, who at a young age was thrown from his world into ours and has been living in the small town of Green Hills for 10 years, in secret from those who live in the small town, save for a conspiracy theorist named Crazy Carl, portrayed by Francis C. Turner, who I am going to have to talk more about later at another video. The loneliness of living in secret finally gets to Sonic, and through a frustrated burst of an electromagnetic pulse, he inadvertently causes a blackout throughout the town. This raises the attention of the United States government, and they enlist the help of a mad scientist and inventor named Dr. Robotnik, portrayed by Jim Carrey, to investigate and capture Sonic. Sonic enlists the aid of the town's sheriff, Tom Wachowski, portrayed by James Marsden, to hide him and go on a road trip to San Francisco to retrieve Sonic's power rings, which they lost there. Trust me, it might make more sense to watch the movie than to hear it from me. So what are the high points? Well, obviously Jim Carrey's portrayal as the villainous Dr. Robotnik. I think of all the portrayals of this iconic villain there are, this may be one out of two of my favorites. The first one being Jim Cummings' portrayal from Sat AM, which is depicted as an evil invading dictator who seeks to turn the whole world into robotic slaves. Jim Carrey's is a far cry from this depiction, is far more humorous, but just as menacing. I would also like to point out that he seems to make a better foil to Sonic than other depictions of Robotnik. Carrey's Robotnik, like Sonic, cuts himself off from humanity, and while displaying a facade of contentment for this decision, comes off as actually rather sad and lonely. Unlike Sonic, who distances himself out of self-preservation, but shows to genuinely like those around him, Robotnik distances himself through a cynical dislike of his fellow man, as well as fostering a superiority complex. All in all, just watching these two work off each other based on this concept makes this storytelling at its finest. And I can't believe I just said that about a video game movie. Also, there's a slight take that to Super Mario Bros. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to spoil it, but I will say that it starts off subtle, but as soon as you notice it, it is painfully obvious. And I found it hilarious and enjoyable all the way through. So what are the down points? First off, it starts off kind of rushed. I mean, it's not that bad, as I much prefer a rushed beginning over a rushed ending, but still kinda cringy to get through. Second, and admittedly, I might be a slightly bit biased in nostalgia for saying this, but I was kind of hoping that Urkel himself, Jaleel White, would return to his role as Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, he did it for that fan film that was released in 2013, so why not? I mean, it didn't really hurt the Transformers movie when it was announced Peter Cullen was returning to his role as Optimus Prime. Sure, a lot of other things hurt that franchise, but certainly not that. Also, no offense to Ben Schwartz. He did a fantastic job as Sonic, but I was still hoping for that little ray of sunshine. Also, I was kind of hoping that the story would take place in a fantasy setting, like in the video games, rather than in our world. I mean, it didn't falter the movie any for taking place in our world, but I think I would have enjoyed it more if they aimed a little bit higher in creativity. So, all in all, would I recommend this movie? Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, seriously, I know there's only 19 of you, but why are you still here watching my show? Go out there and watch that show. Take your kids too if you have any. However, please take care to make certain they don't talk throughout the whole movie. Also, I'm seriously hoping there's a franchise that gets spawned from this, as well as hope for a few more adaptations from other games that appeared in the Sega logo at the beginning of this movie. All said and done, there seems to be a vast improvement of video game movies since 1993. Hey, if you liked this video, click like and subscribe to view more in the near future. Also, if you'd like, comment below. I'm Mike, this has been a Penguins Rock production, and stay tuned. I plan to eventually talk to you about Crazy Carl and Uwe Boll. Not in the same video.